Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do.
Oh yeah, make it look, yeah, it's just it's the thing.
It's the thing to do. Okay, so today I'm here with my buddy Alain, who goes by the artist name Partsproject, and he's been working on this ambient live setup for a while now. I'll say right up front, this is just a really interesting setup to understand the ins and outs of. It's also quite advanced. He's using the Torso T1 as a sequencer, the Digitakt for drums, Minilog XD desktop version for ambient synth pads and noises and effects sorts of things, which he is live looping and layering through the 1010 Music black box. And at the end of his audio chain, he has the Oto Boom, which is essentially a master compressor and saturator. So a lot going on here, like I said, an advanced setup, but Alain does a pretty good job of breaking it down and just walking through how he composes music live, improv style. I of course encourage you to check out Alain's music as well. I've left a link for that in the description to his Instagram as well as his Bandcamp. Something I also always like to mention at the beginning of the video, your support goes a long way. There's a few ways that you could show your support in this video. First of all, just being here and watching is great, so thank you so much for that. Maybe drop a like or a subscribe if this video pushes you over the edge of purchasing any of the gear mentioned. Use the affiliate links also in the description of this video. I would make a small commission from that sale. Doesn't cost you anything extra. I have a growing Discord community where people come with tech questions and just like general electronic music questions and comments. It's just a really nice feeling to be cultivating this sort of community where it's just pure synth knowledge. So join us if you're into that sort of thing. Description. And this video is sponsored by DistroKid. If you are an independent artist or producer looking for ways to officially distribute your music, go with DistroKid. We're going to be getting into reasons why they're the best later in this video. Let's jump into this setup.
The Torso is sequencing the drums in the Digitakt. It's sequencing the pads and the synths and the stabs in the Minilog. And it's doing a little bit of something on one of the tracks in the black box that's using the granular engine. There's different patches that I got here that are better suited for what's on this track, and different patches that are better suited to this and so forth. So these 4 are for the Minilog. These 8 are for the Digitakt. This one here is the one granular sample pad for the engine on the black box, and then these 3 are simply, they're like backup for different drum sounds. This one here is backing up the kick. If I need extra variation to the kick, it's at a lower velocity. I'm gonna just guide through this in actual action here. So here's just a pad. Change the notes up. Right now it's on minor scale. Hold control, turn pitch to harmonize. And I've set several parameters to randomize. So step length, voicing and range. To get slightly different things if I need it. Black box, I'm using it as a looper, so you can set it so that you press record and it'll sample until you press it again. So it's instead of setting the length of the loop before, you had to just set it and that was it. You had to go in and change it if you wanted it differently. Now it'll just respond to like, okay. So now I can go in and quickly MIDI map that to this, the Launch Control XL. So now it's mapped and I can load that on. And now we're here in the loop. So of course here I could randomize this, change some of the notes in the pitch, harmonize it a bit, change the voicing maybe, the range, whatever.
So I'm looking at the T1 because I'm actually an Oxi One user. I have it right here. The size comparison, and this is kind of what it is. But it looks like this is a bit more like quick call and response sort of thing, whereas this is...
Yeah, it's more manual.
Yeah.
So now I've got the old loop. And now a new pattern that's coming in. Take it off of randomization. Could loop that for like 2 bars. 1, 2. And there we go. And if I want, I can just like load that on right now. Turn up the effects. Randomize this. change some of the sounds on it. And so now we're layering. So layering.
Very cool, very cool.
That'll last me a while. Like somebody asked me to do for Expose Noir, they asked me to do an ambient set, and so that really got me into this.
Yeah.
And it's been quite beneficial because for rhythmic stuff, it's provided a much better framework for the rhythmic stuff and the grooves and the music I'm making with drums. It ends up being way more satisfying with less. Like I feel like I have to work less hard with the drums to keep people or to keep myself going, right? Because of all the richness that's like surrounding it.
Okay.
So here maybe we'll just like loop this in 4 bars or something.
Yeah.
And move on, right? So when that's done, we can put that on, get some effect, get the delay and reverb on it, and then switch to another patch that's maybe more designed for.
So cool.
So this patch is like just with short, not.
So the 2 ones that you just did were these three. Okay.
Now they're just looping.
Okay.
And so this one I could map, say, to like this track.
That's so cool.
And then pitch map this one. So you can go up and down, and then there's delay on these. I could change the delay time.
This isn't for volume. This is controlling.
Yeah, these are mapped to the delay time and feedback amount of the black box. So going into these tracks and just turning up how much it's only one delay for everything. It's like a send for everything. It's kind of like the Digitakt. So I decide, like, does this want to go intense, like really respond or not? Like this is infinite now. If I turn it up to infinite, it's gonna feedback like forever.
Okay.
As I'm playing with the new live thing that I brought in, maybe give it some reverb. Then I'm also playing with the cutoffs now have been mapped and the pitches have been mapped, and I've got the delay and the delay times.
What are these controlling then?
Black box pad, like I've got clips to back me up too. So this is all just more of like the live looping thing, but if I really kind of get lost and I need a breather, there's certain clips here on the bottom. Those are all like filtered, like permanently mapped, filter, volume, and pitch to each one.
Okay.
So say I want to throw in this. So that's just the clip of like a bass line. If it's time to it's time to move a bit more. And then let's go into another scale. Maybe change the scale to like up there or something. And change the patch, tape soft, and see what happens. Gently too. Like I've really been having to practice patience. It's a different.
Yeah.
It's a lot of really good habits have come out of trying to make ambient music. I've discovered that it's definitely not a lazy practice.
Yeah, you have to be fully immersed. The next topic we're going to be getting into is how Alain approaches the organization of this setup. Like how much is actually improvised versus how much is set up beforehand in some way. Improv is clearly a big part of this setup, but there's always some sort of pre-prep that has to happen, right? Before getting into all that though, let's talk about today's sponsor, DistroKid. And here is a few reasons why they're the best choice to go with, especially if you're an independent artist or producer. In terms of what's new, they recently released a smartphone app, which makes checking your important DistroKid stats easy and accessible. The app is now available on Android through the Play Store. Essentially everything that you've been able to do on the DistroKid desktop app, you're now able to do through your smartphone. In fact, here's a list of key features that the app offers you. You might want to pause it now if you want to check them out. In today's day and age, we all know how many hats we have to wear as artists and producers. It can just be a lot, so write the music, produce the music. Then you've got to create content to promote it a few weeks before it's released. Then you've got to continue creating content after it's been released to promote it. It's a lot, and I'm not saying that DistroKid does all of this work for you, but they do make it a lot easier for us with the free promotional tools that they offer. The one I use most is Hyperfollow. It's essentially a free landing page or link tree. It's super clean. You could link maybe your latest video, your latest single, other important links you'd like to lead people to. I also use promo cards whenever I release a single. Just select the single that you would like to promote, and it'll auto-generate a few different options for you to choose from. Go with DistroKid. It's just over $20 a year to release unlimited music to all major streaming platforms. You keep 100% of your streaming royalties. So many other tools that they offer for someone who's independent. They're made for us. And there is a discount linked in the description of this video if you would like to join. So do you have, because you're just like, oh, choose a scale and blah, blah, blah. Like, do you have an idea of what's gonna come out, or you're just sort of going with it?
From patches like 1 to 20, they're like for the pads, for the long pads.
Okay, so you have an idea. Okay.
Yeah, from different numbers, and they've got different characteristics that are gonna work with the different behaviors that this is. Like, this is more based on like quicker notes, not long pads, maybe.
Let's get some drums in here.
Yeah, just start doing the light drumming. Not the kick, but like the stuff that's in the background.
Okay.
One of these, this one here is the backup kick. So this is triggering the kick. It's on the same channel as the kick, but this is lower velocity. So it's like just a kick plus the little bits that are underneath it. I love how you can share channels so easily. Okay. And it's around this time I would feel like maybe a need to bring in another little bit of a hiss. And one of these maybe. And then just cut these. Just clear all those. And start looping, but I can change the notes that are in it. And let's just do 4 bars on that, say.
Okay.
Right away I'll just get the effects on it, MIDI map it, and there we go. Now we can randomize this, change the patch, and bring this in.
Nice.
Good. Basically, if you're sequencing the Digitakt with externally, then the sequencer's not doing anything. If you fill it with fill trigs, you can then go in and say like, okay, we're on, we've activated the kick track. You can press it down, turn any parameter, and it'll lock that. So then when you let go, it'll just go back. Now it's a scene. And so then, but also then like for this one key, you can go, let's say we'll activate the hi-hat. We hold down the same scene on that same key, but now that hi-hat's activated, it's going to affect the hi-hat. So like we could like turn up the delay on the hi-hat. And so now when we press that key, the kick and the hi-hat are both going to be like, so you can include all the tracks in that one button. And of course then it's like all on the sequencer, so you've got 4 pages of sequencer.
Where did you find this?
I found it by accident, and I was able to see in that moment, oh, I could use it for this. I've since then heard.
Is that sort of thing even in the manual?
No, it's definitely it's not a feature, it's a bug. And I called Electron, I told them about it, and they said, I showed them the video, they said we didn't know about this. But they kept it, like they said we generally keep things if people are using them and if they're not getting in the way of any future updates that we want.
Okay. Wow, that's
so they've kept it. It's time to make us think about the music for a second, take out the hi-hat. And then we'll see if, I'm kind of thinking what I want to do is go to one of the drone pads that is sort of meant to, I'm going to change it to a chromatic scale. And that's meant to not really be a scale or any music. It's supposed to be just noise. Bring in a new bass line or something and put the focus on something new. Yeah, drums are ready. As this comes up and this goes down. Cut these and cut this one and just so this hi-hat is like on like the odd time, it's like repeating on its own thing, and then the up.
Oh, so there's like a Euclidean plus
the normal. So these are generally the normal ones. So there's less atmosphere now, and it's kind of more like, oh, we're awake.
To sort of just sum everything up to really simplify it. So you're creating textures from here, everything's being looped, and then it's dropped into here. Before you drop it into here, you're playing with this, texturize it further, goes into there.
After they're looped there, then I can map those tracks
afterwards,
to affect the parameters,
And then you add drums over top of that, and that's essentially the nucleus of this setup.
Yeah.
So we've covered everything. We have this on the left here, which we haven't looked into. Like, what is this doing?
It is making everything sound rich and nice. It's squishing it together.
What is it called?
It's the Oto Machines Boum. So like
Okay.
Oto Machines made the boom, the bam, and the bim. But this is the distortion saturation compressor.
Okay.
Once I started using it, I just couldn't not use it. You add some drive and compression. And it just makes it nice, and I just like it. I've got all these clips that I can like go through and choose a different one. Some that are
Okay, so those are just like loops that you have saved.
just
Black
clips
box
that I got saved that I
out
can
over
like
top of thing,
basically mix with the parameters here.
Okay.
Let's remove that and bring. Yeah. So I could do like rhythmic stuff, or I could just keep on washing it out. So it's just giving me some leeway
Very cool.
to go one side or the other. The more gear I use, the less I use the Digitakt. But if I was only using the Digitakt, then I could fly around it and stuff. It's
Yeah.
just there's a lot to do in there. It didn't have much in the way of performance effects. So the fact that there's this bug really is just
Interesting.
Here's my little breakdown, you know.
Nice.
I need structure. I need to be safe. Like I need to be like to know that things are gonna be like my home base, my safety buoy in the ocean is like I can always go back to it.
It feels like you're somewhere in the middle of like having these systems to work with, but still having not really knowing what's coming next, right? You're kind of like right in the middle of it all.
Yeah, I'm definitely attracted to machines like the Torso.
Yeah.
And things that are like not as easy to tame. You see gear on paper. Oh, what can it do? So like, yes, this can do a lot of things, but does it do things that I like when I use it?
Yeah.
Yes or no?
It's important advice for any person buying gear, because I find there's a lot of people that's how they look at gear. They go, oh, it does this, it does that, it does this, it does that, so it's going to make me sound amazing. But it's like, no, you have to sort of craft your own workflow and see if it works. It comes from experience.
Yeah, to be fair, it's like, how can one know unless they give it a lot of time? It takes
That's
a while.
the thing, yeah.
So we try our best to make the right decisions, and like I try to keep myself out of it. Or if I'm gonna tell them what my preference is, I want to tell people exactly why my preference is that.
Yeah.